just doing this vacillating thing with ministry, and I wasn't sure that I was doing what I needed to be doing. I was having family problems, and I'm saying, how is the bishop going to have family problems when we got a lot of people depending on you? So I felt like a hypocrite. So I was kind of vacillating. So I was in a crisis in Ohio, and I decided I need to go someplace to get grounded. So I already jumped in my car, and I was going to drive to Leavenworth, Kansas with my brother and my family. That was the plan, 10-hour drive. I set my GPS, and you know, as many of you know, when you're doing this work, you take in a lot of energy, particularly if you're an empath. You take it in, and then something, you get grounded and you utilize it. But I was asking someone the other day, because here's what happens, just like, you know, what day is it that the transman comes and picks up your car? Mine comes on Monday. But even when you look at that, that's kind of what we do. We go around and collect other things that belong to other people that they don't want anymore to get it out of their house, out of their space. But even a garbage truck can only service its route for so long before what does the garbage truck do when it's full? Garbage truck's got to go to the landfill. Because even the garbage truck can't service everybody. It's overfull. And so that's kind of where I was at. I needed to find a place to put all this other stuff that didn't belong to me. So I was driving to Kansas to get grounded to be with people that I know and that I love. Something strange happened. I saw a sign. I was like 3.5 hours into the drive, and it said Serpent Mound, 17 miles. I didn't know anything about Serpent Mound. But I said, well, I guess that's where I'm going. So I got here at Serpent Mound. It was late that evening, had on my Stetson hat, drizzling rain. I was concerned because I didn't want to get my hat wet. But I said I needed this. I didn't know what it was. I got to the park, it was closed. So I drove around the gate. There's nobody in there. And I said, well, I guess I'll go on in, and I did. I got up to the tower, and I overlooked this big old thing. It was just before it got very dark. And I could see the shape of the serpent. Well, that's kind of interesting. Okay. So then I went down there and got it to tail of the serpent because it was closer. And I just started walking. I got my BlackBerry phone. That's what we had back then, like 12 years ago. And I just started praying. And I started walking. And I've shared this story with Terry and some others before, but that's when we've done it, but so you know why I keep coming here. As I was walking, I saw in front of me it was like a field of little dark black shaped parallelograms, like 6 inches. Just a pattern of them floating, and they were darker than the night. I could see them in the dark. They were just that dark. And so I just started walking into it. I got this all recorded. So as I'm walking and I'm praying and I'm cleansing and I'm trying to purify myself and get this baggage, it's causing problems in relationships, it's causing problems in life, financial things, and losing patience. So I'm just pouring all this out, and then I see this field, and I just walk into it. And I saw that it wasn't hostile, so I just kept walking. And as I started moving, the field of these little floating shapes were moving with me. And so I said, okay, this is cool. So I just kept walking and praying and walking and praying. And after about 10 or 15 yards, the field stopped, and I came out the other side of it. And when I came out the other side of it, all that stuff I had going into it was gone. Like that. That's when I said, well, what was that? What is this all about? But I know I felt cleansed. I felt light. And if this was Matrix, I said, that came out with upgrades. True story. So that's where I said, I got to go back and find out more about this place. And that's where I found about these songs. And I've been a part of it since then. And, you know, and I have talked to a few other people who had similar experiences. GPS and things, and they ended up getting here, and this was not where you intended to be. There's a few people in the room that had that experience. And it's kind of like, kind of the third time with that mountain, people just drawn to it. And so that was the attraction it was for me. But the point is that we're all healers. I came here, this became, not in a bad sense, but it became the place to carry my emotional overload. And if it didn't dump it, it expanded my capacity to carry it. Or both. But we're all here to heal. And just like you, we had this happen right now. Why right now? Maybe where, like in certain states, our own law enforcement officials are taking people's lives. We've normalized even violations of your constitutional rights. They can invade your home. You can be a citizen, not a citizen. It seems like we're doing what they want to do. And we're frustrated because we know it's against the law. For those that understand the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, you know you've been violated. And for the younger people, you need to know. You need to read your Constitution. You need to read the Constitution. You need to read the Bill of Rights. You need to know what you have. Because they're taking it. And it's out of ignorance that we let it slide. It becomes normalized. It happens so much that you don't know that you just lost something that generations fought and died for us to have today. And they're just taking them away. You got to understand what's at risk. And if it's not just for yourself, you're going to have children one day, you're going to have grandchildren one day. And from the Native American standpoint, you got to look more past yourself. This society of instant gratification is all about me. My space, my tunes, iTunes, whatever. It ain't about you. Say it. I said we're going to tell the truth, right? I'm going to tell you the truth because I love you. I'm going to tell you because I love you. And I love you and I love this country too much to see it slip to where we are indifferent about kids that are dying in Ukraine. That we're indifferent about 20,000 kids dead in Gaza as a genocide happened. And it's wrong. It was wrong in 1963, it's wrong in 1923, it's wrong today, it's going to be wrong every day, and it's never going to be right. We can't be complicit in doing a conspiracy of silence and not speak up. And so sometimes you got to do that. Years ago, I put it like this. Dick Gregory, I was at a conference with Dick Gregory, and he taught me something about this place. I thought it was a few years ago because it reminded me of it. This little turtle. Turtle Island. For those of you who know what Turtle Island is, this is Turtle Island. Dick Gregory said one of the problems we got is people don't have enough love for Turtle Island. I've come to call this turtle love. You got to have turtle love for Turtle Island. So what is turtle love? As Dick Gregory said, it's this turtle is what we need. You got to be hard on the outside, soft on the inside, and be willing to stick your neck out. That's turtle love for Turtle Island. Probably we got too many people that just hard on the outside. Because it's too hard on the outside, got nothing on the inside. And right now, many people are reluctant to stick your neck out.
How far should you stick your neck out?
As far as it'll go, as far as necessary. The people, that's my brother asking how far should you stick your neck out. And get an amen for the amen corner. Yesterday I was over here on the other side of this driveway, and there's like a lookout tower, and there's a hickory tree. And nature is such a great teacher sometimes. I picked up some of these little hickory nuts. And I was thinking about turtle love for Turtle Island. And so it's over nature. Nature's telling you the same thing. This hickory nut, I got it before it germinated, but it's hard on the outside. If you open it up, it's all squishy on the inside. And those roots grow down and that big old tree grows. But even the roots knows you got to stick his neck and his nerves out. Until you put it in the ground, it can't come up. So this Mother Nature is what sustains us. So my challenge to you, amongst other things I'm going to ask you to do, and I don't want to go long on time because this has been prolonged and I'm probably pretty close. But again, I'm just being obedient to time. But I want United States, and I'm not trying to be political, I'm being moral. So this is not about a political party at all. It's about gross immorality. But there was a high politician that passed yesterday. The president of this country had the nerve to get on his Truth Social and tweeted that blah, blah, blah is dead. Good. I'm glad he is dead. At least now maybe the world won't this, that, and the other. That's the type of normalization that we can't allow people to be comfortable until somebody calls it out and says, no, that's just wrong. You just don't do that. You can have your personal opinion, but if you're going to be a leader of a nation and you got millions of people that are listening to you, that's just not appropriate. So I'm saying, Donald T. Trump, that's just wrong. I'm saying, brother, I love you, but you're just wrong. I mean, I like everything you do, but I still love you. And you're wrong. And I don't want you getting to the ears of our youth getting them think that this is right. We normalize that type of hatred. No, we're not going to tolerate it. It's not no, Donald Trump. It's hell no, Donald. Back up, let's get it right. And if not, we elect you, we put you in office. Just like Martin Luther King once said about somebody, they didn't like him. He started talking about political views, and the church was going on him. They said, well, Dr. King, don't you think you're going a little bit too far? Which has got to do with ministry. When he started to talk about his opposition to the Vietnam War. One time he said that he had to recognize that the greatest purveyor of violence in this country was my very own country. King said that. And then the money started coming out. People saying, well, I'm not going to give it money for that. You get political, Dr. King. And even this church did. They read it. He says, well, you know what? Y'all can put me out of here. But I'm going to preach by trade. So I report to you, I report to him. So you can put me out of here. But that doesn't change the way I'm what I do. And I'm still going to tell the truth. He says, I love this country too much to compromise with it. He put out a call for people to be maladjusted. He said maladjusted. He said the ringing cry of everywhere. You know, the social psychologists and everybody is saying everybody wants to be well adjusted. Take a few aspirin, take some drugs, whatever, and feel fine and go have a nice day. Maladjusted. I mean, being adjusted. People want to be adjusted. But King put it another way. He says, no, we need to be maladjusted. I love maladjusted. People say, well, you're crazy. Yeah, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I know the shoe size you're wearing. Said, no, we need people to be maladjusted, that you will not acclimate yourself to certain things, that you will hold morality to a higher standard, that you will hold yourself and the people around you to a higher standard. I'm not going to tolerate people being around me being less than. But right now we have to agree, in my mind, that the status, the bar's gotten so low for morality and inhumanity, and man's inhumanity to man, the bar's so low you got a limbo to get up. And it's falling fast. We got to raise the bar. Just like our children, our families. If you got a child that's making C's and D's in school, you scroll, you train, because I know you're capable of mathematics. And if a B's the very best you can do, then well done. I'm happy for you. That's the best you can do. But you're not going to get out here doing less than you're capable of doing. You need to come yourself. Y'all did a few videos on my TikTok, and there's a cemetery not far from my house. I go there quite often. And when I do, I see all these rows lined up with veterans flags, and I got Sergeant First Class, Amos, here to this day to this day. All of these rows of flags. And I'm thinking, did they come here for that? Who in here gave birth to a child saying, I hope you go off and die in the war someplace representing your country? Nobody said that. But we allow it to happen. We think that's normal. Got a country that will celebrate 13 dead Americans saying they died in service to their country. I talked to their parents, I talked to their families, and they said, keep on going and make it happen. Said nobody ever checking that man's head. And I don't know who the hell talking to him. Somebody needs to. But nobody, this experiment, when we come into one, just the very act of creating the divine feminine, what you just saw up here. A man can't do that. A man can't put out what you just saw here today. A man can't respond the way that another woman said she recognized her pain and held her hand and gave her a personal possession. I just want to share something sacred with you. I don't have a womb, so I don't know how that feels. I don't know how to do like this masculine energy is largely responsible for a lot of the predicaments that we're in, because it wasn't always that way. You Native American oriented people, you already know that originally these were matriarchal societies. The women ran the clan. The men went to war. And so we've got to be in a position where we recognize that feminine voice. We've got to allow space for them to come forward and do what they've got to do and balance out these dialogues of energy. You know, that's why I wear my murder. There's two inverted pyramids. The sacred masculine and divine feminine. But there has to be a balance. That's why I got to call my brothers. You got to stand in support of these women that already do what they need to do, because they can't do it on their own. Not easily. One way or another, they're going to have it. To the extent of our involvement, it's going to determine how messy it's going to be. So you stand behind it when you see them doing something. Even if you don't understand it, you just got to trust it. Because it's not about him or her, it's about us, as my sister said. Not standing behind him, not standing in front of him, you stand right next to him. When Billy Badass comes around to him, he says, no, what's your problem? You don't problem with her. You got to be like my brother was with my sister. My sister is the youngest of four. She got 3 older brothers and baby sisters. Now, me and my older brother, we left, we went to college, we was doing our things. They was left home, running the house. And when somebody wanted to come and see my sister, he would put on his big overalls. He would answer the door. He's got an axe handle. Then he hollered out. True story. He hollered out the axe handle, but that wasn't bad enough, and poured like 7 pounds of lead. And when somebody came knocking at the door, he would get there, and he's from Captain Crunch. He's captain of the football team. He's like ripped like a little black hole. And he would answer the door, and the guy would say, "Is Shelly here?"
Okay, let's put a man in the
Doctor, yeah. Well, can I see her? No. Did you need something else? It's a short conversation. I had to fly over from Germany to take my sister to her own high school prom. Because everybody's too scared to ask her. That's the way, this is the protection that our sisters, our wives, our girlfriends, our mothers need. Right? And this country was so perverted that somehow we ended up giving people the permission that anybody that had an appendage 6 inches below his belly button had more rights than a person that didn't have it. Well, right, that's the way it's supposed to be, but that's when we start to move south. So we got to empower them. Because the truth of it is, and I said this in the meeting with last night, with all of us in this room right now, you know, everybody's got a great idea. Everybody's got maybe a solution to approach a problem. But we got other issues that we got to have some type of unity around. And to solve that problem, we got to understand that none of us is smarter than all of us. And so we got to have some unity. We got to have room for people to come in. Even the people that you extremely disagree with, that they drank that poison Kool-Aid, just like that Jim Joe stuff when people had people in Africa drinking poison Kool-Aid to get on David's common. They was way out there too far up for me, but we're at a time that people like to drink that great Kool-Aid, even though you disagree, you got to find a way to build bridges. Because just because that brother got misunderstood, because he got bought with propaganda, we can't dismiss it. We got to find a way to at least have a bridge big enough so we can have dialogue. You know, there's a thing that's happening in this country with propaganda. And I learned this in survival and escape training in the military. They took us out in the middle of nowhere, they gave us a compass, and they said, now, if you can make it, you got to land navigate from here to there. And if you can get there before nightfall, you will have a compass path. Which is squad of 3 people, give you a compass and a map, and say, figure it out. And so, by the way, if you can get to this place before 5 p.m., we'll have a truck there with food for you. And you're there. So we made it. Got to the truck. There's a guy in the back of the truck with a 2.5-ton truck. He threw us a bag of potatoes, some onions, a loaf of bread, and 2 live chickens. True story. And so he showed us how to dress a chicken. That's it. So I'll show you how it's done. He took that chicken, long story short, put his head down in the dirt, and he got a stick, and he just drew a line straight out from that chicken's eye. And there it goes. So you can let or watch that line until they're told. You can watch YouTube videos of it if you don't believe it. This is how they hypnotize it. And then you put a stick over its neck and pull his body away from his head and let it run until it just runs out of blood. But just rip the head off. He ain't going nowhere. He's going to sit there and watch that line. I bring that up because that's what's happening in this country. A whole lot of us cheat. And you don't know that somebody's hypnotizing you, whether it's blue Kool-Aid or red Kool-Aid, but somebody got you hypnotized while it was their propaganda. Even the media is so much that. There's very, very few fair reporting. If your source of news is the media, you're going to get the right left spin of the right spin. And some might do some good reporting out there, but you got to be careful what you consume, because what you consume, that's what you manifest. And that's how you get these people that believe all this other stuff and so cold and indifferent behavior. They copy the behavior that they see coming out of their commander-in-chief. I know soldiers even bad about it. Soldiers aren't supposed to have any political affiliation. The soldiers you don't. There's no Republican soldier. There's no Democrat soldier. You're just a soldier. And you go out there and you fight, you die for your country. You instruct your commander-in-chief. And you look to do the right thing. I don't know that we've got a government that deserves the sacrifice of our soldiers today. Question? I have a son that's got PTSD. Had to take a dishonorable district. What war does to people. But my point simply is war doesn't have to be a paradigm we have to live with. I heard that years ago there was an Egyptian pharaoh that outlawed war in all the lands. He made war illegal. If you had a problem, you came to him and he would solve it. But there was no war. It's like Bob Marley once said, if you don't mind. He said, if they want to win the revolution, they must win it with Rasta. Because you can't win any other way. Because if you win any other way, they're just going to fight again. But when you win it with Rasta, they'll be going more. We got to find a way to bring that Rasta spirit into this and salvage our humanity. And we don't have to do it through violence. We don't have to do it through blowing up people's bodies and dropping bombs. And we certainly don't have to do it by having a cemetery across my street that's not even big enough to hold 20,000 children. That the world kind of goes by and we ignore it. And it's at the point now you don't even hear about Gaza in the news anymore. We're on to the next thing. And again, I went to the International Peace Coalition and we started with the war, trying to stop the war in the Ukraine. And then this popped off. And now it's almost just like, is there anybody left in Gaza to say? Israel's blowing the grass, and we are complicit in genocide. And the world is turning against us. We are heading toward an isolated country. And my concern is that we become the new face of what the Hitler was. It's like history repeating itself. There's not much difference other than the time. And it looks like there's been a reversal in positions. Because now the United States and Israel have become the new Nazi. And is there any reason to expect? Right now we have Israel going through Lebanon. 1,400 dead already. 1,400 dead. And is there any reason, and they're liberating people, just like we're liberating people in Iran, dropping bombs on them. What strange liberators we must see. And do you have any question or any reason to doubt that whatever Israel's doing is going to be anything less than what they did in Gaza? Do you really believe they're just going to stop in Lebanon? I've got Lebanese friends. They're just going to stop after we got this and we got that. Why would they stop? Why would they not go for genocide in Lebanon? They're going to be terrorists. Speaking of stopping, yeah. My brother's trying to tell me about it. Unfortunately, I got really bad earsight. So here's my message. I'm going to close with this. You know, metaphor, one or two people asked me to reshare this, so I'll bring it up again. possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. The dying fire, the need of law. The first one held their staff. The long faces of the fire. They saw the young black. The next man that was going on the roof saw one not of his church. He couldn't get himself to get the fire his stick burning. A rich man sat. The rich man sat with his own wood and gave his coat. Why should I give my law to warm the island? Poor man sat there in tattered clothes. But it's really tattered. I'm trying to find what we get after that. Well, it ends up that the black man face bespoke her day. That the fire had or in his scripture word, he saw a chin out of the back. So the walls held tight, and death still hangs. There's two in sin. They died. They all died. But they didn't die cold without. They died cold with him. Let's not be ignorant. Let's be gooder. Let's do gooder and do the best. Because the world is right. I know it's a funky situation out there, but you know what? Like I was talking about the very act of you bringing it full circle. That seed, that man who deposited that seed, you know millions of sperm, how many millions of sperm it takes to get to an egg? But you know, it's an Olympic event. It's an Olympic event. Millions of sperm to egg, guys. Showtime! And so I don't know how they do it. I don't know how this mic just came on. And listen, y'all really need to get this, take this with you, because this is how special and unique and important you are. Millions of sperm somehow have the intelligence to know to go find that egg. But it's not the first sperm that gets there that fertilizes the egg. I was ignorant about this for 30 years. I thought it was the first sperm, but no. There could be 10, 20, 90, 2,000 sperm. Finally get to that egg. The egg selects the sperm to fertilize. So I'm telling you, what I'm saying is not only you an Olympian, the very fact that you got here, because you had to be among the first good swimmers to get there. But you were chosen to be here. You were selected to be here. So if you're ever wondering about lying right here, first ask the question how you even got here. Because millions and millions didn't make it. You're one of the ones that did. And don't waste it. Because you're only going to be here one time. So don't be fake and false. Don't live below your capability, below your standards. And what the world is doing got nothing to do with you. You're here to do what you're here to do. You are a spiritual body having a physical experience, and you're not here to kowtow and just follow the status quo and do what is normal. Be abnormal. It's abnormal that you're here. I mean, for every 1 million sperm that didn't make it, you the one that did. So that's not what it is. Be the best you can be, live the best life you can, and raise the bar. Stop accepting people who are up here, trying to belly crawl underneath. Amen. And that's going to be it. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. And if anybody gets you in trouble, tell them, come get these nuts.
This one. circle once again. It's through the chaos that change happens. So thank you for all going through the flow and dealing with the chaos. That's part of the process. Through the chaos, we rebuild. Whenever I get the go-ahead on this one, no, she moved on. Okay. She's ready. You will. So, if you haven't met her, I want to introduce you to Grandmother Barbara Vitale. She's Blue Star woman. She's our little firecracker, in case you hadn't noticed. She's a wonderful, powerful wisdom carrier. She is our beloved Grandmother Barbara. She is a Celtic woman trained by her grandmother in the Celtic traditions. She is also Cherokee, and in the 1980s, the Lakota people made her a relative, and she walks the traditional Lakota way as well. She is the author of several books. She's a spiritual teacher who shares ancient wisdom to inspire spiritual growth, healing, and harmony with nature. Her teachings emphasize the interconnectedness of all life, the importance of honoring and respecting the earth, and the importance of personal and collective transformation. Today, she shares with us a very special Celtic ceremony. Thank you all for being a part of it. I would also like for you to take note of Grandmother's wonderful, beautiful maidens that are with her today, all assisting her. Many have traveled from many places all over the country to be here. We thank you, ladies, for that, for your service, and how you take care of them. And I'd also like to introduce you to Terry. He is our community. So thank you, Terry, for stepping up in the parties. We also have Lisa Rubio on the Christian Fields. I call them Christian Fields. Love her voice. So, without further ado, Grandma Barbara.
Can we get the stand up? All right, I don't like these things. So someplace along the ceremony, you will just have to listen, and I'll project my voice because this cuts some of the inner. So you've heard a lot of people talking, so I'm going to start out with a little bit of talk. I'm no different than each one of you. I've been an alcoholic. I've experienced childhood trauma. I've been a party girl. I was a teacher for 30 years. I was a model. I dressed models and did commentary. And I made it up. So, and the reason I share that is so that you get unstuck from the fact that at 89 you have to be this, you know. So I'm going to give you my 89-year-old non-Celtic advice. Are you ready? 1, love yourself. Love everyone, but take time to love yourself. Take 1 hour of every day to do something that you enjoy doing that brings you joy. Remember that you're enough, and the fact that things come into your life that seem like challenges, you chose those before you got here. You know, my mother was an alcoholic, cocaine-using schizophrenic. Took me a lot of years to get out of forgiving her and honoring her for coming in to be my greatest teacher. Last piece of advice. advice, which is the best one you'll ever hear. Don't worry, because when you get my age, you can't remember what you worried about. So let it go. And the last thing I want to leave you with is always listen to spirit. Even if it sounds obnoxious, make sure it's spirit. Make sure you've identified, and sometimes I say, I used to say, if this is spirit, I want to hear it 4 times in some way, so I know it's spirit. Now I just know it's spirit. But if a free ticket shows up, use it. Go where spirit tells you to. If spirit tells you to do this, do it. Don't doubt. You know, you are spirit. Boy, they just keep feeding me information. One of the things that I want to share with you, because I know that some of you have challenges with Christianity and others of you are very Christian. There is a Bible out there that comes directly from the Aramaic to English. And I'm going to share with you before we start this ceremony that prayer, because it healed me. It healed me. So here's the interpretation of that prayer. Mother, Father, Creator, who art within me, sacred be thy name. Thy kingdom has come on earth as it has throughout the whole universe. Thank you for this day of miracles. And please forgive me for the mistakes I've made as I forgive others for their mistakes. And lead me not into temptation, but protect me from my lower mind. For thine is the kingdom of love forever. So that's the Aramaic translation, and it's so totally different. And it touches my heart. It touches my heart. Because each one of you are enough. Each one of you carry that energy within you. You are an extension. And your only challenge is remembering your perfection. Remember that. Whether you walk the Lakota like I do, I'm a very traditional Lakota. Those of you who have been to those ceremonies know I'm also very traditional Celtic. This Celtic is pre-Roman, so you will not hear about Bridget or all the goddesses and goddesses. This is the stuff that started in the beginning. You may take pictures of me now, once the ceremony starts. No, we do not take pictures of lodges or ceremonies. It's just a no-no. So I don't think I've forgotten anything else. Oh, laugh aloud. When this is over, laugh aloud. So you will be asked, given a choice, to be touched by some of these sacred things. And you can say no. Won't hurt my feelings at all. You know. You're the one that's in control of your reality and your growth, not me. I'm just out there popping popcorn, planting seeds. You know, what you do with it is up to you, not me. And I will not take responsibility for it. And do not come to me and ask me to fix you. I'll give you some things to do. Well, sometimes I go to medicine men. No. All right, I think that since we're Is that clock right?
It's off in a.
So what time is it?
11:22.
11:22. Oh, so we need to warp time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just put in your heads that we will be done at exactly the right time. And then don't look at your clocks. I saw my Lakota teacher, Grandpa Dupre, travel 50 miles in 15 minutes. Remember, you are in control of your reality. What you believe in is what's going to happen. Now, I'm serious about that. Totally serious. And if you forget, you know, I forgot about a year ago. My husband watches the news from 6 o'clock to 11 every night. He's a political junkie. He's a recovering Catholic. He supports me, and he says, I have to believe some of this stuff because I see it, but he says it's not my walk. But our love is so deep. Yeah, so deep. See, Spirit's flooding my brain, so I can't think at this moment. So I'm going to let go. You. Do we have a lighter? Anybody have a lighter? Of course. You start and then pass it around. So start with the blue one. Actually start with the yellow one. The difference between the Lakota and the Celtic is very minor. The Lakota deal with 4 things. The Celtic deal with 3. So by lighting this yellow candle, I call it air, the very lifeblood of everything. With the lighting of the green candle, we call in the earth. And with the lighting of the purple candle, we call in the fire. Our fires are often purple, not red. And the last candle is the candle of the sky. I want each of you to look at that energy and connect to it, and notice how it moves around the sacred cloth, and how it forms a portal. And touch with each of those elements. The air, the earth, the fire, and the sky. Breathe it in. come join us and bring your power, so be it. Let the sound of the bowl increase. I call to the dragon of the earth. I invite you to join us and bring your power. I turn to the dragon of the fire, the one that cleanses everything.